But let's move on, and we're going to move on to the Brooklyn Nets rallying. First off, did you see that Kyrie shot where he jumped up and basically did a forward hook over top of, I forget, two Laker defenders? Basically, it was the game clinching basket that put him ahead. So I think that. Thanks, big. Hey, morning, Bruno. Big J52.
GM. Goodwin, I do like Goodwin too.
I love Goodwin. It's just right now we're gonna see less of Goodwin until we cut somebody because he's on a two-way contract.
Yeah.
So there's that. But hey, what do you think of this Brooklyn Nets game? And I mean, again, it was a win over the Lakers, which I think should not be taken for a grain of salt. The Lakers have been surging. It just sucks. I will say this about the Lakers. Every time they're about to get to 500, they lose a game, go on a losing streak. Every time they close in on 500. What are you gonna say?
If AD didn't just come back, and they're gonna have to rest him. Last night, LeBron and AD are out, so I just know going into the game, I get KD's out, I get Ben Simmons are out, but they're gonna lose a game probably, right? That's just the way she goes. So that's the concern: is you're 5 games below 500, but you need AD to play as much as possible, and you need LeBron to play as much as possible. And whether it's injury or age, those are guys you'd rather be 10 games above 500, so you can take your rest nights, you can rest those legs. So yeah, the Lakers' issues are, that's why you got to trade Russ, but getting AD back was nice. The Brooklyn Nets last night, the reason, you're still without KD, no Ben. The reason they won that game was because of the bench. Kyrie also put on a masterclass performance. I think he had I think he was up for, I think he had this 30-point game streak going, and he could have easily, he only put up 16 shots on a night where he's your best scorer, but that bench is why they won that basketball game. And the defense stepped up in the fourth quarter. Guys like Claxton are so underrated, but when you have Patty Mills going for 21 on the bench,
sorry, my dog was being an absolute cunt.
You have Cam Thomas going for 21 points. I got Yuta Watanabe going for 12.
Is Cam Thomas a trade? So this is something I love Cam Thomas, and the big thing with Cam Thomas is this guy can score buckets. This guy's going to be a 6-man. But the big thing with arguably our man Cam Thomas is that because he's not a great defensive player, he's primarily an offensive player. Do you think Cam Thomas is a good trade chip? Or do you keep?
If you're
Brooklyn,
technically, yeah. But especially if you're trying to unload a bad contract like Joe Harris, this team still needs more perimeter defenders.
That's what I'm saying. So, let's say here's a good option.
Or even a backup big man.
Yeah, I was about to say, what if Mo Bamba and Gary Harris, or Mo Bamba and Terrence Ross? I don't think Terrence Ross, because he's a buyout option, so you don't trade for buyout options. But Gary Harris and Mo Bamba, they're if you send us Cam Thomas, Joe Harris, and you're telling me you wouldn't want Mo Bamba and Gary?
I actually, no disrespect to Mo Bamba, but I actually don't know what he offers me anymore.
3D. He's still shooting. He's still shooting. No, Mo Bamba's still shooting 40%.
Good for him. So is Cam Thomas.
I just think right there, that just gets you 2 players under contract for an additional year who are.
That is nice. Yeah.
De'Ron Sharp played phenomenal last night. So, I don't know if there's a need for a backup big man, because De'Ron Sharp showing that his rebounding ability is freaking legit. That guy had a dunk where he just went up big.
Yeah, he had a great game, and that's why they won. They won because of the bench last night and Kyrie, but it was. So yeah, if you're the Nets and you're feeling good about De'Ron Sharp being your backup big, and you also
you think this team's more
playoffs?
You think they're more of a backup? They're in the market for buyout options instead of trades at this point. You think they're looking at Will Barton, Terrence Ross? Who else have we said potential? Nerlens Noel, Rashawn Hall.
All those players would help. Not Rashawn, but all those first 3 would help them a lot.
Yeah, who else is on?
Would solidify me as. I had him in the preseason going to the chip, so I think that would solidify my pick.
I mean, John Collins seems like a long shot because if we agree, like a John Collins deal, like the Brooklyn Nets don't have the best offer from the older teams, so I don't see that happening. I see this team prying, at least two guys off the buyout market because from my understanding, there's like five buyout guys. If Jay Crowder isn't traded, Will Barton, Terrence Ross, Rudy Gay, Nerlens Noel, Rashawn Holmes. Am I missing anybody else?
I'm sure some will even pop up as well. I don't think because I'm pretty sure Rashawn's on a multi-years, so I don't think it'll happen.
No, people don't realize people are like, yeah, when do buyouts happen for multi-year guys? A lot more because you know what's called? It's called stretching a contract, you morons. Guess who's still getting paid by the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Paul George.
Kyle Singler.
Oh wow, that's a name. It's been a while.
Yeah, they're still paying him this season. Okay, and he got cut 6 years ago, 7 years ago back. So like, when you have a big contract, you just waive it. Fuck it, bro. We'll give you $1 million for the next 10 years.
So, I'd actually rather trade Seth Curry. Will be a free agent here at the end of the year. I'd rather trade Seth Curry than Cam Thomas.
Yeah, but I was saying
you got to keep in mind Day'Ron Sharp might be a great trade chip to get a player like John Collins.
So for me, the whole thing is the reason why I recommended do you trade Cam Thomas is you don't have Cam Thomas. You could argue would be your first round pick. You could be like to a team. You're like, hey, we're not going to attach a first round pick, but we'll attach Cam Thomas. He's got 2 more seasons under contract. Plus, you get his restricted free agency / qualifying offer. He's young. That's our first round pick. We'll give you a second if you're really bugging us for a pick, and then you take on the big contract.
Yeah. One thing could be really interesting is if they decided to move on from Ben Simmons. I saw that NBA scouts are urging them to, and it's not because I'm giving up on Ben Simmons. There was a game where he had 0 points. I believe it was last week, and I felt really done with him. But if he's still working his way back, he misses games. You got to monitor the situation. But I don't think people were expecting Nicholas Claxton's ascension to be this impactful.
Yeah, so, no, I agree.
It makes Ben Simmons, it's like he's probably better off coming off the bench in that case.
Because you can't have what's-his-face come off the bench. You can't tell Claxton.
You don't want definitely not Claxton. So it's
even Seth Curry. Seth Curry's averaging 16 for the month of January.
Seth is nice. I just wouldn't be surprised if they were to be able to get a guy like John Collins. Seth might be Seth, Cam.
Because Ben Simmons, it's not like he's bad. He's just Draymond Green now. He's just putting up 7, 7, and 7.
He's just being too soft for me. I don't know what's going on.
It's hard. I don't know what's going on either. And
There's games where he'll like come out like that Spurs game from last week. There are games where he will take 6 shots in the rim in the first 5 minutes. And then there are games where he has 2 points.
Yeah, so right here we have against San Antonio, he put up 10 shots. He had a double. He had a triple-double.
Kyrie was out of that game.
Yeah, he had a triple-double, but he did have 7 turnovers that game.
Yes. Yeah.
And then another game, I'm trying to see all the games that he had 10
against Philly, right? Look fine. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists.
Check out this. Turnovers. Okay, if Ben Simmons at least attempts 9 shots this season, he basically scores in double figures.
Yeah.
Except one game he put up 8 shots and he made every single shot and had 20. I mean, I don't know. Like the best month of Ben Simmons I think we've had was the month of November. In November. Was he coming off the bench in November?
I think he started that. So I believe it was the start of the month.
November was when he averaged 9.5 points to only 2 turnovers. He averaged 1.3 steals, just under 1 block a game, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, and shot 70% from the field.
Yeah, that's very efficient.
That is so efficient. That is so good. That's the numbers. If you're not going to score Ben Simmons, we need you to be this guy. The 9.5, 5, and 7,
Yeah.
It's just, It's just annoying. I agree. It's annoying because we know Ben's better than this.
Yeah.
And what is with the reluctance to score?
Well, he's never been a prolific scorer. He's never been a shooter.
But it's like his offensive repertoire has just regressed.
Yeah, from the start of the season to now, you can tell he's starting to get his legs under him, and he'll have his glimpses. But the injuries might be severely downplayed. That could be what's going on here. I don't really think it's a reluctancy to score based on those games where he attacks and
Could it be a Brook Lopez situation?
Do
you know what I mean by that?
Effed and he needs full on.
Because think about it. Literally, think about it. Because you remember Dwight Howard. Okay, Dwight Howard was a guy that was shit. We thought his career was over after he played for the Hornets, the Hawks, and then he goes to the Wizards and only plays 9 games because of like this terrible back problem. Goes and has back surgery. Comes back, plays 4 more seasons in the NBA, wins a championship, and then another example this year, Brook Lopez. Everyone's like, damn, Brook Lopez missed all of last year because of back surgery, but he comes back, starts moving well. This year gets a full off season after having back surgery, and he's second place for the defensive player of the year, or third place depending on how you rank. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Nick Claxton are arguably one now, but Brook Lopez having a career year not only defensively, but one of his best rebounding years since his last year with the Nets, one of his best scoring years since his last seasons with the Nets, basically having his best year in 7 years. Brook Lopez, after finally having a back surgery that alleviated the back pain that he's been suffering for years. Okay. And it took him, I think he said, like 3 or 4 back surgeries. For Dwight Howard, it took him as well 3 or 4 back surgeries. I think right now Ben Simmons has only had 1, maybe 2 back surgeries. So maybe that back is not right, because you don't understand. Like we've said in the beginning of the year, when Brook Lopez was moving this year, he was like a brand new man.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be the thing, that Ben Simmons is back?
Yeah, it could be. I think we'll know from a year from now. But
I've never suffered a back injury, but I have a guy, one of my boys is like a really big skier, and he hurt his back like in high school really bad from skiing, and he has back problems. Like whenever he comes home from work or like goes skiing and stuff, he has to come home and grab one of those like styrofoam roll bars, and he like lays on the floor and he does like a bunch of back stretches. And it's been maybe 10 years since he hurt his back.
Shoulder hangs are supposed to really alleviate any shoulder and back issues.
When you go on at the gym?
Just straight up hanging from a bar.
Oh, like a pull-up bar?
Yeah.
And just
like 10 minutes a day, every day.
Oh, so basically like a reverse inverted table. Like my dad has like an inverted table. Like, you never seen an inverted table? I'll pull it up right now. It's like you strap.
I'm saying a pull-up bar, right? And you hang from the pull-up bar.